What's up? My name is Natasha Bryant. I'm your host of Unapologetic Living, and today we're going to talk about shame. So buckle up, get your notepad and your pen ready because gems are going to be dropped. Let's go. So shame is something that we feel at some point in our lives, maybe multiple times in our lives. And shame gets a bad rep because of usually the experience that we have with shame. This is the situation that we're associating with the feeling of shame. But I'm going to tell you something that you probably have never even heard before. But before I do that, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video and also share it. Share it with others so that other people can be connected, be free from this feelings of shame, be able to let go of the shame that's blocking them from living their lives. So I'll give you a minute. Did you do that? Did you like? Did you share? Did you subscribe? And also, if this connects with you, if this video about shame is really connecting with you, make sure that you also check out the other videos because I'm talking about people pleasing, I'm talking about anxiety, I'm talking about boundary setting, all the things that can get in the way of you living your best life and how to overcome anything that's stopping you from living your best life so that you can live unapologetically. So let's get back to it. Shame. Like I was saying before, shame gets a bad rep, but I want you to think about something that you probably never thought about when it comes to feelings. There are no good and no bad emotions. Yeah, you may be thinking like, what, Natasha? I mean, shame is a bad emotion, right? But when we're saying good and bad, a lot of times we're not talking about the emotion itself. We're talking about the response that we end up having to the emotion. We're usually talking about the consequences that end up happening as a result of us responding to those emotions. And so today I want to talk to you about how to have a healthy relationship with shame. Yes, you can have a healthy relationship with shame and how to be able to let go of the things that's connected to those shameful thoughts so that you can start living your best life as your best self. You can't live unapologetically if you're feeling shameful, if you're stuck in shame. Because shame, the unhealthy part of shame, we're going to talk about the difference between healthy and unhealthy shame. The unhealthy part of shame will keep you stuck in judging yourself about a past situation. Feeling apologetic about decisions you made in the past. Therefore, you are unable to live unapologetically. So going back to the idea that there are no good or bad emotions, let me tell you why. The reason this is true is because every feeling has a function, a purpose. Shame has a function and a purpose. Shame helps us take responsibility for something we have done. Shame helps us to reflect and think back and say, you know what? That probably wasn't the best thing. Actually, not even probably, that was not the best choice. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I did hurt that person's feelings. That was wrong of me. I didn't show up as my best self in that moment, right? Shame helps us to reflect on that. Now, when it becomes unhealthy, or quote unquote bad is when we get stuck in that to the point where now we're judging ourselves about it. We're beating ourselves up about it. So like I said before, it's not that a feeling is good or bad, right? Because a lot of times feelings like shame get a bad rep and they fall into that bad category because it causes unpleasant emotions. It's not fun feeling shame in general because we're admitting that we did something wrong, and as humans, we don't want to admit, we don't like admitting we're wrong because we don't want to be the bad guy, right? We don't want to be seen as a bad person, right? And so it's hard for us to admit when we've done something wrong, and shame holds us accountable. And then you have the feelings that quote unquote are good, but they're only good because they help us feel good. They cause us to feel good and comfortable. But that doesn't make them a good emotion. It's just the results, the how we end up responding to them. The outcome is what we're really basing good and bad on. And so let's talk about the difference between healthy and unhealthy shame. So unhealthy shame is when you, again, the motivation, the function behind shame is to hold us accountable, help us to reflect on something we didn't do correctly or wasn't the best choice, right? And unhealthy shame starts to gear up thoughts where your inner critic is being very loud and judgmental. I shouldn't have did that. Oh, I can't believe I responded that way. I'm so stupid. Why did I even do that? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I hurt that person's feelings that way. Like, I'm such a bad friend. I'm such a bad mother. I'm such a bad ... fill in the blank, right? And then before you know it, now you're stuck in this shameful space where you're not able to let go and move forward because at this point now you're feeling like, well, I don't deserve anything good to happen to me. I'm not worthy enough to be in a healthy relationship or good relationship because I cheated on my past cheated in my past relationship. Or I don't deserve good things to happen to me because of how I treated somebody else or what I did in this past situation. And so not only is it causing you to feel like you're not worthy, you're undeserving, is that it also is keeping you stuck in the past. And so you're not able to move forward because you're replaying the situation over and over again. And when you're stuck in shame, not only are you replaying the situation, but you're also replaying those very judgmental thoughts. I mean, you're beating yourself up and it's causing you to feel less than. It's causing feelings of hopelessness. And then the next step, right? So then we're talking about how we end up responding, our reaction, our response to the feeling, right? So then the unhealthy shame with that, what those actions look like is now we're trying to prove that we're not that. So now in spaces, we're trying to prove to others that we're not that. And people may not be thinking that about you, but because it's so loud, those thoughts are so loud within your own head from your own thoughts, you believe that it's true. And then you assume that other people also believe that it's true, or other people also see it. Similar to when you were a teen, maybe even as adults, you have a pimple on your face and you look in the mirror and it looks gigantic. And you're like, oh my goodness, this pimple is so big. When people look at me, all they're going to see is this pimple. And then when you go out, nobody even pays any attention. But because you have decided that it is huge and people are going to only see the pimple when they see you and they're going to judge you because of it, now you're super insecure about the pimple. So now wherever you go, you're looking at other people. You're hypersensitive to how people are looking at you, hypersensitive to people's body language to make sure that they're not looking at you and they're not judging you. When really it's yourself that's judging you and now you're projecting that onto other people. That's what shame does. Shame will have you believe that you should be embarrassed of yourself. You do not deserve good things to happen to you. Unhealthy shame, that is. Will cause you to have these negative thoughts about yourself and then assuming that other people are going to think that too about you. So you have to overwork, do the extra work, show up in an extended way, overperform to prove that none of that is true. When in reality, many people are not even thinking that about you. But unhealthy shame will cause you to feel like you now have to prove yourself, will cause yourself to feel like you got to please other people so people can like you because you don't think that now you're worthy to be accepted. People pleasing so nobody leaves you because now you're thinking that I don't deserve. People also see that I don't deserve to be in a relationship or to have them in my life. And so I got to do all the extra things to keep people in my life. And then the other thing it does is it keeps the situation a secret. When we're feeling shameful, we don't want to tell anybody because we don't want anybody to know about this because if they do, if they find out, nobody's ever going to want to be around me. Nobody's ever going to want to have a relationship with me. Nobody's ever going to hire me anywhere. Nobody's ever going to believe me. Nobody's ever going to trust me. Nobody's ever ... fill in that blank. And so you end up holding this secret, and it carries so much weight. Unhealthy shame is so heavy. It feels like a weight is on your chest. It feels like there's a weight on your shoulders because you're constantly thinking about, what if somebody finds out? I have to prove that I'm not this thing that I'm saying to myself, because if I don't, they're going to find out. I have to constantly please or overperform so that nobody finds out. I have to make sure I don't slip or say anything or do anything that's going to make people find out this secret that I have. And that is draining. And it causes anxiety because now you're constantly worrying about what other people think. You're constantly worrying about someone possibly finding out your secret. And then it causes depression because you're constantly telling yourself you're undeserving, that you're not worthy, you're not enough. And so that's what unhealthy shame does. And that's why shame gets the bad rep, because a lot of us end up having a relationship with shame in a very unhealthy way. But let me tell you about how you can have a healthy relationship with shame, because it is possible. Again, remember, every emotion has a function. So there's no bad or good. Just like anger, there's no bad or good about anger. A lot of times what we're talking about when we're quote unquote saying anger is bad is the action, the response to the anger. If I get angry, I'm going to start yelling, or I'm going to be rude, I'm going to isolate, I'm not going to have any motivation. That's the response to anger. It's not the actual emotion. Because you don't have to respond that way when you're angry. There's a lot of people who feel angry and they don't have that response. So that's why there's a healthy way to have shame, because you don't have to get stuck in shame. You don't have to have those judgmental thoughts. At the end of the day, these are your choices on how to handle the emotion. So that's why it's possible, because you have 100% control over how you respond to shame. And so a healthy way to respond to shame is, yes, activating its function, taking responsibility, recognizing that what you did may have not been the best choice. You probably did not show up as your best self. You did hurt somebody's feelings. You did do something unethically, or you did break the law, like whatever that is, acknowledge that. But how you don't get stuck in it is saying, you know what? Yeah, that wasn't my best choice. I did not show up as my best self. And because of that, I'm learning how to handle situations better. I am taking this opportunity to learn how I can be able to respond in a better way, how I can manage my frustration in a better way, or how I can be able to not just immediately react over a situation, or how to handle problems more effectively, whatever that is. And not only that, when it comes to like, okay, what did I learn from that? How can I do it better? But also, and I am still a good person. And I still deserve good things. And I still have worth and value because I am a human being. And regardless of any human being's choices, they still deserve to be respected. They still deserve to be treated with humanity. They still deserve love and kindness. And I'm that person too. Now, even though you are thinking about how I can handle it better next time, and recognizing that you still have worth and value in spite of the choice that you made, even though that's happening, listen, that inner critic is still going to pop up. No matter how much work we do on ourselves, we still have the inner critic and the inner coach. But it's all about the power you have and which voice, which thoughts you're going to listen to and make the loudest. So even though the inner critic is coming in and saying, yeah, but do you really deserve to have good things happen to you after what you just did? Do you really deserve to be able to get a second chance after what just happened and the decisions you made? Right? It's going to happen. But you have to fight it with your inner coach and saying, yes, I do deserve. Because I am going to do better. Like, I genuinely understand that what I did was wrong and I want to show up better. And I'm capable of doing better. And I deserve a second chance to show myself, not to show others, but to show myself that I can do better. That's how you avoid getting stuck in shame. You allow yourself to still see your own value and worth and allow yourself to try better a second time around. And listen, if it's your third or fourth time around, you still have worth and value. Unhealthy shame would say, well, no, you already had your second chance. And your third, this is number 4. Like, really? You think that you really deserve? Yes, I do. And I know I do. That's how you are able to move forward and get out of that unhealthy shame. That's where the freedom comes from. And when you are able to acknowledge, because again, the healthy shame allows you to acknowledge what you did wrong without now judging yourself as a person, judging your worth and value. Therefore, you no longer have to hold it as a secret. Because remember, the secret is because the reason why you had the secret is because you were telling yourself that nobody's going to love you. Nobody's going to accept you. Nobody's going to give you a second chance if you let people know that this happened, because they're not going to believe that you deserve that you're worthy of that, right? That's what unhealthy shame is saying. Healthy shame is saying, I made a mistake. It was not, and it might have been intentional. Like, I intentionally did this. But now that I'm looking back, I'm realizing I shouldn't have did that. Like, that wasn't what was the best choice. I'm recognizing how it impacted other people. I'm recognizing how it impacted my life. And I'm realizing, like, this, I got to do better. And I'm going to do better. And I want to do better. Right? So because of that, you feel comfortable talking about it. You feel comfortable sharing your story. Because you also recognize that your story, your lessons that you've learned in your story is going to help other people learn. So they didn't ever have to do it themselves. Or if they did do it, they can see that the redemption is possible. Unhealthy shame is saying redemption is not possible. Restoration is not possible. Healthy shame is saying you have all the redemption available. Restoration is on its way. That's what healthy shame is saying. And so it's no longer even a secret, or it never becomes a secret, because you are open. You're an open book and willing to talk about it. You're willing to share. You're willing to admit what you did wrong, because you recognize that it doesn't define me. It doesn't define who I am as a person. I still have dignity. I still have worth and value. So if this resonates with you, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what shameful thing is holding you back right now in this moment. What is that past decision, that past experience? Because so maybe it's not even a decision you made. Maybe it's something that happened to you. And you have been feeling so shameful because you're blaming yourself for it. I should have known better. I shouldn't have went to that location. Or I should have stayed home. Or I should have said no. Like, whatever it is, whether it's something that happened to you or a decision that you've made, whatever, what is that? And I want you to be honest with yourself, because unhealthy shame will not only cause you to be dishonest with other people about what happened to you, because again, it's a secret and you don't want people to know, because you feel like nobody's going to love you, nobody's going to support you, nobody's going to understand, right? But then you also end up lying to yourself. You lie to yourself about what really happened. You rationalize why what you did was okay or wasn't, or you kind of try to minimize that it wasn't really that bad, right? Or you lie to yourself so that the inner critic doesn't start getting loud. You don't want to deal with the inner critic. So you just lie to yourself about it so that the inner critic doesn't start beating you up and the self-judgment starts getting really loud. But this is your opportunity to be open and honest with yourself. What is that shameful thing that's been holding you back? And then I want you to think about, how has it been holding you back? What have you not done because you've been holding on to the shame? What opportunities have you passed up because you've been holding on to the shame? How has it stopped you from being your full self? Think about that. And the third thing I want you to do is ask yourself, am I ready to let it go? Not do I want to let it go, because you might want to let it go, but you're not ready to let it go. I want you to ask yourself, am I ready to let this go? How bad do I want to let this go? And if you're at the point where you're like, I'm ready now, I want to let this go now, then the first step is forgiving yourself. Because the main reason why it is shameful is because you've been telling yourself that you do not deserve any love as a result of your actions, as a result of your experience. And I want you to forgive yourself for that. And then in turn, I want you to give yourself the love that you've always needed. Tell yourself the things that you've always needed to hear to let it go. And if you're at a point where you would like some more help with this, and you would like to learn, or you finally let it go, but you're like, what's next, Natasha? Like, I've let it go. I'm on this journey of healing, but now I want to know, how do I move forward? How do I start really going after the life that I always wanted, but I was too shameful to go after it? Then you want to start some coaching services with me. I provide coaching services to women who are at a point where they are ready to unapologetically live their lives and love themselves unconditionally. If that is you, then my coaching program is perfect for you. And that's what letting this unhealthy shame go is all about. Because once you let go of the unhealthy shame and begin to have a healthy relationship with shame, you will start to live unapologetically and start loving yourself unconditionally. And so if you want to work with me and start living unapologetically and loving yourself unconditionally, then make sure you click the link in the show notes that talks about the coaching services. You can then schedule a free consultation, 15-minute consultation, so we can talk about what it is that you're looking for, just to make sure that I'm the best fit for you and these services are the best fit for you and what you're looking for. And then if it is, then we can move forward and starting those services. Also, make sure you check me out on Instagram at Speak Life Transformation. You can check me out on Facebook at Living Speak Life. And make sure, again, you subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you would like some additional ways on just how to be able to really find that level of self-care, because also part of letting go of that shame and the next step is now caring for yourself. And maybe for so long you have not known how to care for yourself because the shame has been holding you back and you've been pleasing and trying to prove that you've been giving all your energy to other people so people won't find out that you have this secret, or so nobody thinks that so you can prove that you deserve love and you deserve worth and value. And so you have no time for yourself. Then my flashcards, I'm going to have my me time is perfect for you because it gives you 8 successful ways on how you can make time for self-care, where you start putting yourself first. Again, that link is also in the show notes as well. So click on that and then you can be able to get immediate access to those amazing flashcards. As always, Until I see you again, make sure you be bold, be safe, and speak life.